Okay, maybe you are wondering why are there two partners here, but actually we are from different branches in Malaysia. I'm from JB branch and Patricia is from Penang. So Patricia, I just want to check with you, if I'm a purchaser interested in investing in Malaysia, what are the types of properties that is available?
Okay, basically there are two types. It's either under master title or individual strata title. What is master title? Master title basically means it's not subdivided yet. So it's under the name. It's still under the name of the proprietor. So the registered owner will either be the developer or another proprietor who gives the right to the developer to develop a stratified property. And so when you purchase the property, the unit, you are only a beneficial owner until the title has been subdivided. So a strata title is where it has been subdivided and it will be transferred to the name of the individual purchasers. So for each unit, you will have a separate title issued for every single unit. Okay.
Okay, I know that if I want to buy a property, if it's strata-titled property, sometimes it may take quite a while for the strata title to be issued. Is it common in Malaysia?
Yeah, this has been quite. This has been bugging quite a lot of property purchasers who purchase stratified properties, because it used to be it would take a long time for the stratified title to come in, and even until today, there are properties in Malaysia which has not been transferred to the individual buyers. It's still under the name of the developer or the proprietor. But in 2015, our government came up with this new act, Housing Development Control and Licensing Amendment Regulations, where it actually imposed a responsibility on the developer to hand over the unit together with the strata title to the purchasers. Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully with this, that issue can be resolved in future.
Okay. So what are the types of lands that are available in Malaysia?
Yeah. There are two types of land: freehold and leasehold. So for freehold land, it's you are the owner in perpetuity. So it belongs to the owner until you dispose it off. And usually with a freehold land title, you will not need the state authority, the state government's approval for any transactions like disposing it off, or to lease or tenant it out, or to create charges over your property. And then for leasehold land, it is held under lease for a maximum tenure of 99 years. And then it belongs to the state. And it's usually subjected to restriction in interest, meaning when you want to sell it, you need to go back to the state government to get approval, or you want to charge it to the bank, you need to go to the state as well. So it's more restrictive in nature.
Okay, so if I want to purchase from a developer or an individual, what are the differences in these circumstances?
Okay, we call it a direct purchase from developer or a sub-sale. So the difference is in Malaysia, for direct purchase from developer, there is a prescribed form, a format which you have to follow, the terms and conditions which you have to follow strictly. And developers cannot vary the terms unless they go back to the Commission of Buildings to get approvals. So the buyers are very protected in these terms. There are actually two schedules, which we call it the Schedule G and Schedule H. So Schedule G is for landed properties and Schedule H is for stratified properties. So it has the prescribed form has certain salient terms which you have to follow, which includes you need to deliver vacant possession within 24 months from the date of the contract for Schedule G, and then 36 months you need to deliver the unit for Schedule H. Okay. And if the developer failed to deliver vacant possession, it will result in liquidated damages payable by the developer, which is 10% of the purchase price until they deliver the key to the purchaser. Okay, and also a certificate of completion and compliance must be issued when they hand over the keys. Okay, as for sub-sale, it's really a willing buyer, willing seller situation where the parties are freely, they can freely negotiate on the terms they want, and there's no prescribed form. So it's basically depends on how you negotiate the purchase.
Okay, Patricia, if I'm a foreigner, which I believe most of the people are foreigners here, so what are the restrictions applicable to foreigners if I want to buy a property in Malaysia?
Okay, under the National Land Code, foreigners, foreign individuals and foreign companies, you will need to get a state government consent if you want to purchase a property in Malaysia. And because land is a state matter, and each land office of the state will have different rules and regulations and bylaws to govern acquisition of property by foreigners. And this includes imposing levies, application fees, and it varies in different states. Yeah.
Okay, the main thing I think most people will be interested to know which is how do they implement for each state. Maybe I'll just expand a bit on the Johor state. Actually, for Johor state, the threshold must be 1 million and above, and there's a levy of 2% or 20,000, whichever is higher when the approval is obtained. Patricia, for Penang, what are the threshold like?
Okay.
Is it same?
The threshold, the minimum threshold for purchasing a property in Penang. If you're familiar with Penang, Penang has an island and mainland, so it's different. For mainland stratified properties, it's 1 million, and same goes to landed properties. But in the island, for landed properties, the minimum threshold is 3 million, and 1 million for stratified properties. Okay. All right, now the question is, what happens after the developer hands over the key? Yeah, what happens to the management of the stratified property?
Okay, once the purchaser gets the key, usually there would be a joint management body which will be established, and there is the developer's duty to convene the first AGM and within 12 months of delivery of vacant possession. Okay. After that, a body corporate called the Management Corporation will come into existence, but that is only when the strata title has been issued. And if the strata title has been registered, like at least a quarter of the share units have been registered, then the developer calls for the first AGM of the Management Corporation. Well, actually now the GAMB and the Management Corporation are all regulated under an act, which is the Strata Management Act 2013. In this act, there are some bylaws which everyone has to adhere, right?
Okay, just a little bit information here. Some of you might ask, okay, what can does the management corporation has the power to utilize the maintenance accounts funds or the sinking funds for maybe putting up Wi-Fi in the property, or maybe having hold a dinner, appreciation dinner for the management committee, or putting up some equipment for the gym. So basically, yeah, this is actually, these few examples are rather in the gray area, which if you look at the list that you can how you can actually utilize the maintenance accounts money and the sinking funds accounts money. Okay, let's go through the list. For maintenance account, it can be used for maintaining the common property, paying for the expenses incurred for cleaning, security, amenities, and then paying any premiums for insurance, and then complying with any notice or order given, and then minor painting work on the common property, and then carrying out inspection of electrical wiring systems of the common property, carrying out inspection, maintenance, and repair of the main water tanks, paying rents and rates, paying any fee incurred for auditing of accounts, then paying all charges reasonably incurred for the administration of accounts, paying of remuneration, fees for the managing agent, and paying for allowances or other expenses of the members of the joint management body, and then meeting other expenses of general or regular nature relating to the maintenance and management of the building, and paying any expenses, costs, expenditure in relation to the procurement of the services. If you look at this list, you feel like, I don't think it goes under any one of this. Okay, so if it doesn't, then we look further into the sinking funds account. Okay, this what you can actually use for painting, repainting of the common property, acquire movable property, and then renewal or replacement of fixtures and furnitures, upgrading and refurbishment of the common property, and other capital expenditure. So maybe it might fall under here, let's say upgrading and renewal of fixtures and fittings. Maybe the gym equipment will fall under here, and the Wi-Fi. But the appreciation dinner, I don't see it falls under any of those. So it, in case you're sitting in the management committee, you need to be very careful to decide what the money can be used for, because other than this list of things that you can use the money for, the money utilized for other purposes will be illegal, and the committee actually needs to reinstate the money. Yeah, and there are fines which couple with the breaches. Yeah.
Okay, I think most people will be quite interested to know if I have a complaint, where do I go if I bought a strata-titled property? So we have this Strata Management Tribunal, right? So this is under the Strata Management Act as well. So they will listen to your disputes and complaints. Okay, so these are, the members shall be appointed by the minister or these people. And then the award is deemed to be an order of court and can be enforced accordingly. So it's actually quite a friendly setting, because you don't need a lawyer actually at the hearing unless the matter is very complex issues. Okay, so they can actually hear claims up to 250,000 for the following matters, right? For disputes on functions and all this. Okay. Right. Okay, so Pat, do you want to take on this?
I think many of you might be investors who wish to actually invest in a property in Malaysia, and maybe you will be wondering, oh, can I rent it out via Airbnb? As far as I understand, I think Singapore is a no. But in Malaysia, generally, it's okay, it's legal, except for Penang, which the local council has already issued a ban on Airbnb. But for other states in Malaysia, it's legal. But of course, you need to look back at into the bylaws of each of the building. If the bylaws of your stratified property says no to Airbnb or short-term leasing, short-term leasing, then it will be a no. Yeah. Then it will be subject to bylaws of each buildings. Yeah. Okay. That's all of our presentation, and we are open for to take questions.
Okay, regarding this management body's bylaw, okay, is there a standard format, okay, that has to be used by all management body in all the states or in Malaysia?
The government actually has actually says that you have to follow the bylaws in the act itself. So there's actually a copy of the bylaws inside the act that you have to follow. So all developers have to use that as the basis.
Okay, so that's a fundamental, that's the basic.
Yeah, the basic
so
one.
That means you can add on the management.
If you add on, you can, but whether you can enforce it is another matter, because the ones that government has actually standardized is the ones in the bylaws, the standard one in the Strata Management Act.
So
yeah.
Airbnb is quite a new trend, right? So I don't think it's in any bylaw, right? So that means if management body decides to restrict Airbnb, they are allowed to do it, right?
They can actually do it if they pass the resolution in their meeting.
Resolution means it has to be
general
AGM.
Yes.
Special resolution, right? Or AGM.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think we'll just stick to legal questions.
Yes, can the managing agent also become the tenant of the same property that they are managing?
Managing agent as in corporation.
Yeah, managing agent of the strata property. Can they also stay as tenant?
I don't think there is any restriction in relation to.
So they can do that. And the managing agent, can the director of the managing agent also be owner of the same property? Is there a conflict of interest?
I think there. I don't think there is.
The Strata Act doesn't mention this.
Yes.
But the problem in Malaysia property legally is the management has a lot to improve, and a lot of Malaysian property is being destroyed by the management. So is the MC allowed to change the painting color of the common area without consulting the owners?
All this, it has to go through the committee, and also that is why it's very important for unit holders to attend meetings for passing resolutions, because it is your vote which counts, and it actually affects the decision whether to repaint the building or whether to appoint which company to be the management agent. Yeah.
So now any Tom, Dick and Harry can be a managing agent, right? You don't need to be accredited managing agent.
There are two types of property managers: individuals and companies, which are real estate managers. So which are governed under the Valuer VAEA. That's an act which governs the property management. And there are actually individuals which can, the committee can actually appoint to manage.
Okay, I think we just have time for one more question. The gentleman at the back.
Can we set up a company then to buy a commercial property to claim back the GST?
Sorry, come again.
Hello?
Sorry, can you repeat about the GST part?
Yeah. Can I set up a company first, then I go and purchase a commercial property and claim back the GST?
If you are Sdn Berhad and you are registered under the GST Act, you can claim back. But you must be a Sdn Berhad, which is the private limited in Malaysia. That means your shareholding is 51% Malaysian company. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your questions, and thank you as well to our joint presenters this afternoon, Ms. Lei Kim and Patricia.